I have Steve J. Klein with me today. He's a content creator and animator. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Steve, before we get into the rest of the interview, I guess, or the crux of it, give us just a little bit of background, especially for listeners that don't know you, just your background in general and your connections to BYU-Idaho.
Of course, yeah. So I was born and raised in Houston, and then of course, after I graduated high school, I came to BYU-Idaho, and I actually did a year at BYU-Idaho. I went on a mission, and then I came back to finish off my time there, and I graduated in 2020. And after that, I moved out to Arizona, and I'm doing a little bit different jobs here and there, essentially. But yeah, I found that during this whole process, especially after I graduated BYU-Idaho, I was really interested in 3D animations and animating. And so what I found was that with TikTok becoming a new thing, I joined, and just from some of the things that I had learned at BYU-Idaho or things that I found out that I was interested in, I started making animated and 3D animated content on TikTok, and it just kind of took off.
That's amazing. If you had to describe, especially that, just your role now, your job as a TikTok and content creator with how it's gone, I guess, how would you describe what you do on TikTok?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I do a series. It's something that's a bit different, and some of your younger viewers may know what this is, but I create content that's called Country Balls. And essentially what it is it's 3D animated characters, spherical characters that are or that have the texture of different national flags on the actual characters. So they have the flag, and then they've got little eyes as well. And essentially what the series is about is these different nations, they interact with each other in ways that make sense for those different nations. So different stereotypes kind of play into it as well, based on, different historical policy or just current policies. And it just makes for a fun, interactive content between, different nations. And, there's a lot that goes into it, like culinary things, or there is different, national debates and things like that. So it's just a fun little animated series.
Awesome. And talk about also just the success that you've seen on your platform.
Yeah, so it's been pretty incredible. The last 2 years or so, I've been seeing my content kind of just blow up. So it was, I wouldn't say overnight success, but it was pretty quickly that I realized that how popular this series was. So currently I have about a little over 175,000 followers on TikTok. And then some of my videos, they can range between 10,000 views to all the way up to 4 million views. And so it's kind of ranged a little bit, but I noticed there's a lot of people that's on TikTok that loves this series and that just wants to show pride for their own country. And so I noticed that we get people from all around the world that like to come and participate in these, as in the comments or just, in the series.
Yeah, that's really cool. And how long ago, I don't know if you mentioned it already, but how long ago did you start this channel?
So I started it about 2 years ago. So that's when I was first kind of introduced to this Country Balls theme. And it was about 2 years ago.
Awesome. Okay. And what inspired you to make this TikTok account? I guess what inspired you both to make your account and then to make your account and in your videos about what they're about with the Country Balls and everything?
Yeah, so originally I just started my TikTok account because I saw that it was a popular platform. People were starting to flock to it a lot. It had a little bit of controversy at the time just because of the United States laws and things, but I just wanted to see what the platform was all about. But as far as getting into the content, it's kind of interesting because when I was at BYU-Idaho, I took some classes. One was international studies, and the other one was about history, and I learned a lot about national histories and things like that. And so I noticed that even though I was an accounting major at BYU-Idaho, I really had a fascination with learning about different countries around the world, learning about the history of different countries and how they've, how it's all connected and how it came, everything came to be today. And so those studies, even though I was really focused on my accounting degree and everything like that, those different classes actually inspired me to start making content because I found out I had a fascination with it. So I guess that was the main thing for me.
There you go. That's awesome. And I guess talk a little bit about too, because you talk about how some of the classes that you took here inspired what you're doing now and have given you guys, I guess, maybe more of those skills to make those type of videos. So what goes into making a video like the ones that you make, like the process and the time and everything?
Yeah. So what I use a program, it's called Blender. And this program, I'm able to go in and actually create these characters, make them move, make them jump, make them, move around. And I'm able to create 3D objects as well that's around them. And so I had to learn a little bit about that platform. And I would say even BYU-Idaho kind of helped with that as well, just from different classes that I took. But essentially, yes, it's a lot of just 3D animating. So a lot of people at BYU-Idaho, they have similar programs where you can build, housing structures and just have different 3D views of different structures, as opposed to this program. It's very similar. It's just you can create anything, and especially animations. Learning how to render things, learning how to create things is really cool.
That's awesome. And so I guess how long would you say that it takes you to make one of these videos on average?
On average, I would say it takes the actual animation process takes about 3 hours or so, but the longer portion is going to be the actual rendering process. Once you've actually created the whole video, you have to render it, and it has to actually be pictured frame to frame. And so that process takes sometimes 24, sometimes 48 hours.
Wow. Okay. So I guess when you talk about those videos that you have that, that have gone upwards of 3-4 million views and those kind of things,
yeah.
Do those seem to take longer, or is there like a trend that you've seen in some of them getting more views than others? Like, is there a difference that you've seen there?
It's such an interesting thing with TikTok because you really never know which ones are going to blow up and which ones aren't. Because I noticed that there's certain countries that are more on TikTok than not. So as an example, I've been surprised at some of the countries that I see or some of the viewers that are on there, because there's some viewers that are from, for instance, Belarus, which is a country next to Russia, that are very heavily on TikTok. And that's one of the countries that are really into my content, especially when I make content about Belarus. Or Ukraine is a big one right now. There's just certain countries that I was just surprised with, Indonesia, Malaysia, that are really big into the TikTok account. And so it really just depends on if TikTok can connect my videos with the right country that I'm trying to feature on each video. And so it's kind of hit or miss. And sometimes it's funny because sometimes I'll take a long time animating a video and it'll only get a certain amount of views. And then there's sometimes that I spend an hour doing something real fast and it gets 1 million views. And so it really hit or miss.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
And I've noticed that, that's happening with a lot of people, whether it be animating or not. TikTok is such an interesting platform, and that you can spend, just a small amount of time and things blow up, or you spend a ton of time on things and it only gets, 50 views. So it really is an interesting platform.
Mm-hmm. And for you, Steve, what has been maybe one of the more, I guess, maybe enriching parts of this experience? Because I imagine just with the fact that, you're putting your skills that you learn in the university at BYU-Idaho in real life, and you're also maybe interacting with different cultures. What's been one of the more enriching aspects of this experience as a TikTok creator?
I think the most enriching thing about this whole process is just being able to connect with people from all across the world. It's incredible the amount of communities and the amount of things that I've learned from different people from different countries and their cultures. Especially one of the main things that I focus on is different cuisines, different foods of different cultures. So getting to learn about what excites people in Belarus, what types of food is popular over there, Indonesia, Malaysia, Europe. There's different foods and different cultures that they have over there that's a lot different from other cultures around the world. And so being able to connect with everybody like that is, I think, an incredible thing. Just being able to connect all these different world cultures to come together and participate in this community is it's really cool.
Yeah. And, being, you said that you have had other jobs along with being a TikTok creator and stuff. Has TikTok been now one of the, I guess, more successful jobs for you, or is that like your main career, or how do you mix it up with your different jobs?
Currently, it's I'm doing TikTok more as like kind of a part-time gig. I have other jobs that I'm working at kind of more full-time. I'm in sales a lot now, and I do things that's related to my degree in accounting and such. So it's kind of more of a part-time thing, but it's slowly expanding over time to where I'm hoping one day it'll be, I'll be able to do it full-time and maybe even travel the world and see these different countries for myself.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Especially, interacting with different cultures, it'd give you opportunities to travel everywhere, like places that a lot of people don't even know about, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to do it. So,
Steve, before I let you go, because I think a lot of people, especially nowadays with how popular social media is, a lot of people, want to use that tool for good, especially BYU-Idaho, whether it be with spreading the gospel or just, spreading overall positivity online and things. As far as doing that, as well as just, maybe not necessarily with TikTok or with content creation, but just with, students chasing their dreams and those kind of things, what kind of advice would you give to students, whether it be just being a content creator specifically or chasing their dreams in general? What advice would you give to them that, have those big goals and those big aspirations?
I would say the biggest advice that I would give to people is just go ahead and start. Like, just try to go on there and start creating this content and seeing what connects with viewers. If things don't work, then change it up and try something else. If that doesn't work, change it up and try something else. I kind of think to like Thomas Edison and the light bulb, and the fact that it was something around the lines of, he said, we've tried 1,000 ways to make this light bulb and it didn't work, but the trick is going to 1,001. Mm-hmm. And so really, you never know what's going to happen with social media, but if you keep on trying new things, you keep on just trying to pursue social media, I truly do believe that it will work for you in the long run.
Awesome. And Steve, anything that you would add that maybe I missed or anything like that?
Yeah, I can't think of anything else, but I appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks again for joining us on the call today, Steve. And real quick before we end, just remind the listeners what your TikTok channel is called and where they can find you.
Absolutely. So my TikTok account is called Legitz Animations, and that is spelled Legitz Animations. So they can find me on TikTok. I do have a YouTube as well, but don't usually post as much on there. But TikTok is the main platform that you're going to be able to find all my videos. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us today, Steve. I really appreciate it, man. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you.